Hello, it's Professor Asma Parveen from Department of Psychology, Aligarh Muslim University. Today I will be discussing about research questions, their formulation and types. Formulation of research question is a very important step in a research process. It serves as the foundation for the entire study. Guiding researchers and shaping their methodology, research questions also help focus on specific goals. So, to create effective research questions, there are several steps to follow. Firstly, it is important to identify your area of interest. Consider broad topics or areas that you want to explore. This could be based on under research subjects, real world issues, existing theories, personal interest, or emerging trends. By starting with a general idea, you can narrow down your focus later. Next, conduct a comprehensive review of existing research related to your chosen topic. This involves examining what other researchers have discovered, exploring existing theories, and identifying any ongoing debates. By familiarizing yourself with the current knowledge on the subject, you can have a better understanding and identify gaps or unanswered questions. Once you have gathered this information, you can begin formulating your research questions. These questions should be specific and focused, addressing the gaps or unanswered aspects identified during the literature review. So, another important step in formulating research questions is narrow down the focus. So, it is important to narrow down your focus by selecting a specific aspect or dimension of the topic you want to investigate. This can be determined by considering factors like relevance, significance, feasibility, and your own interest and expertise. By doing so, you will be able to delve deeper into your chosen area and gather more meaningful data. Another is to define key variables in construct. So, in addition to narrowing down your focus, it is again important to clearly define the key variables, constructs, or phenomena that you will be studying in your research. This involves specifying the concepts or variables of interest and providing operational definitions to ensure clarity and consistency in your studies. By defining these key elements, you will have a solid foundation for your research and be able to effectively communicate your findings. Furthermore, it is essential to consider the different types of research questions that align with your research objectives, methodology, and context. There are various types of research questions, each serving a different purpose. These various categories of research questions include descriptive questions, which aim to provide a detailed account of a phenomena, exploratory questions, which seek to uncover new insights and understandings. Next category is explanatory questions, which aim to establish causal relationships. And next category is predictive questions, which focus on making future projections. Comparative questions, which involve comparing different groups or variables. Another is evaluative questions, which assess the effectiveness of interventions or programs. And the next category is action oriented questions, which aim to guide practical decision making by selecting the appropriate type of research question. You can effectively address your research objectives and contribute to your field of study. So, to conduct effective research, it is essential to have clear and specific questions that address your research objectives. Ambiguity or vagueness should be avoided in order to facilitate meaningful inquiry. So, by asking precise and unambiguous questions, you can ensure that your research is focused and purposeful. Another important aspect of research is ensuring that your questions are relevant and significant within the context of your chosen topic and the broader field of study. It is crucial to consider the practical implications, theoretical contributions, or societal relevance of your inquiries. This ensures that your research has a meaningful impact and contributes to the existing knowledge in your own field. Additionally, aligning your research questions with the relevant theoretical frameworks, conceptual models, or paradigms is vital. These frameworks provide a theoretical basis for your inquiries and help ground your questions in established theories or concepts. So, by doing so, you not only strengthen the validity of your research but also contribute to the theoretical advancement within your own field. Another important aspect that you must consider are the methodological considerations. Because when conducting research, it is crucial to carefully consider the sources of your questions. It is not enough to simply come up with a list of questions. You must also think about how you will collect and analyze data, as well as how you will interpret your findings. Your research questions should be practical and able to be answered using appropriate research methods, techniques, and tools. In addition to considering these factors, it can be highly beneficial to seek feedback from others on your research questions. This feedback can come from colleagues, mentors, or peers who have experience in your field. So, by sharing your questions with others, you can ensure that they are clear, relevant, and coherent. Take this feedback into consideration and be open to making revisions to your questions as needed. The goal is to continuously improve the formulation of your questions until they effectively address your research objectives. So, by seeking feedback and making revisions, you can refine your research questions and increase the likelihood of obtaining meaningful results. It is important to remember that research is an iterative process and your questions may evolve as you gather more information and insights. So don't be afraid to make changes along the way in order to better align your questions with your research goals. Because ultimately, the quality of your research questions will greatly impact the success of your study. So, well informed questions will guide your research and provide a solid foundation for your analysis. They will help you focus your efforts and ensure that you are collecting the right data to answer your research objectives. So, take the time to carefully consider the sources of your questions and continuously improve their formulation. There are certain challenges and considerations in formulation of the research questions. Because formulating research question is a very complex task that researchers must navigate carefully. It is crucial to ensure that these questions must be clear, relevant, and feasible. However, there are various challenges and considerations that researchers must keep in mind when developing their research questions. One significant challenge is the presence of ambiguity and lack of clarity within the questions. If the research questions are vague or poorly explained, it can lead to confusion and misunderstandings. Consequently, this can hinder the research process and compromise the reliability of the results. So, to mitigate this issue, researchers must strive to create specific, concise, and easily understandable questions. By doing so, they can ensure that all parties involved are on the same page and have a clear understanding of the research objectives. Research questions play a very important role in the success of a study, but they can also present challenges if are not clearly formulated. A research question that is too broad lacks focus and specificity, making it difficult for researchers to effectively address it in a single study. Conversely, a research question that is too narrow limits the scope of the inquiry and may overlook important aspects of the topic being investigated. Therefore, finding the right balance between breadth and depth is essential when formulating research questions. In addition to striking the right balance, research questions should align closely with the objectives and goals of the study. This ensures their relevance and significance in contributing to the overall research. However, this alignment can be challenging to achieve. Formulating research questions that effectively address the research objectives while also being feasible and achievable within the constraints of time, resources, and ethical considerations require careful thought and consideration. So, to create comprehensive yet manageable research questions, you should consider the specific context and purpose of your study. You need to identify the key areas of inquiry and determine the appropriate level of detail required to address those areas effectively. By doing so, you can ensure that your research questions are focused, relevant, and capable of providing meaningful insights into the chosen topic. Research is a very complex and multifaceted endeavor that requires researchers to approach questions from various angles and utilize different types of evidences. Some research questions are not easily answered and necessitate innovative methods of study. However, the complexity of these questions can pose challenges when it comes to data analysis, collection, and interpretation. Researchers must navigate these difficulties in order to gain a comprehensive understanding of the subject matter. The field of research is constantly evolving with new technologies and ideas emerging all the time. So, in order to stay relevant and meet the demands of the time, researchers must adapt to these changes. This involves regularly reviewing and improving their research questions to ensure they remain current and effective. It also requires researchers to be flexible, open minded, and willing to embrace new ideas. By staying abreast of the latest knowledge and insights, researchers can refine their research questions and enhance the quality of their work. So, when formulating research questions, it is again crucial to take into account cultural, social, and contextual factors that may influence the research process and outcomes. This means considering the different perspectives, experiences, and values of people involved in the research. By doing so, researchers can ensure that their research questions are culturally appropriate and respectful of local norms and customs. Failing to consider these sensitivities can result in biased or inaccurate research findings. Ethical considerations also play a vital role in the formulation of research questions. Researchers must prioritize the well being, rights, and dignity of the participants. They need to carefully think about the potential risks and benefits associated with their research questions. Principles such as informed consent, confidentiality, and privacy should be followed. Ethical considerations require researchers to pay close attention to power dynamics and potential harms that may arise during the research process. To effectively address the challenges and considerations in research question formulation, researchers should approach it thoughtfully and systematically. Factors such as clarity, scope, alignment with objectives, complexity, evolving context, cultural sensitivity, and ethical considerations should all be taken into account. So, by proactively addressing these challenges, researchers can create research questions that are clear, relevant, feasible, and ethically sound. And this lays the foundation for rigorous and impactful research. Next step is evaluating and refining research questions. So, when you are doing a research, it is crucial to evaluate and improve the questions that you are going to ask in your study. This ensures that the research questions should be clear, relevant, and aligned with the objectives of the study. So, by carefully assessing the quality and effectiveness of the questions, researchers can ensure rigorous and validity of their research. There are some certain factors, even certain key steps to consider during this process. So, this evaluation and refining of research questions involve certain key steps that we should consider. Firstly, clarity is essential. That is, the question should be clearly stated and easy to understand. If the questions are ambiguous or confusing, it may lead to inaccurate or incomplete data. Therefore, researchers must strive for clarity in order to obtain reliable results. Secondly, specificity is important. The question should address specific aspects of the topic being studied. Vague or broad questions may not provide the necessary depth of information needed for a comprehensive analysis. So, by focusing on specific aspects, researchers can gather more precise and meaningful data. Thirdly, relevance is a crucial factor. The questions should be directly related to the objectives and importance of the study. Irrelevant questions can waste time and resources, leading to inconclusive findings. Therefore, researchers must ensure that their questions align with the purpose and significance of the research. Additionally, feasibility must be considered. Researchers need to determine if the questions are realistically be answered within the available time, resources, and ethical guidelines. It is important to set realistic expectations and avoid asking questions that cannot be feasibly answered. This helps maintain the integrity and practicality of the research. Next, novelty plays a role in advancing our knowledge. The question should contribute to filling gaps in existing knowledge or exploring new ideas of inquiry. By asking innovative and thought provoking questions, researchers can push the boundaries of understanding and make significant contributions to their field. Evaluation techniques are important in the research process, and there are different techniques for the evaluation of the research questions. One way to evaluate a research question is through peer review, where you seek feedback from colleagues or experts in the field. This helps ensure that your questions are clear, relevant, and feasible. Pilot studies or pre-test can also be conducted to determine if your questions are practical and effective in real life situations. Additionally, continuously reviewing and synthesizing relevant literature is crucial to ensure that your research questions are up to date and well informed. Refining and revising your research questions is another step towards improving them. Clarifying the language used in your questions makes them clearer and more specific, allowing them to effectively guide your research. Adjusting the focus of your questions, whether by narrowing down or expanding, ensures that they remain relevant and aligned with your research objectives. It is important to remember that research questions can change over time. So, being open to revising and refining them based on new insights, data, or feedback is essential throughout the research process. Another important aspect is incorporating feedback. When you are doing a research, it is essential to seek feedback from others in order to gain different perspectives and insights. This can be achieved through discussions with colleagues, advisors, or even the individuals being studied. By incorporating their feedback, researchers can enhance their research questions and make improvements. Peer review is another valuable method for improving research questions. By asking peers to provide feedback on research proposals, weaknesses, and areas for improvement can be identified. This collaborative process helps researchers refine their questions and strengthen their overall study. In addition to peer input, it is crucial to involve relevant stakeholders in the research process. These stakeholders may include community members, policymakers, or industry experts. By including them, researchers can ensure that their research questions align with the needs and interest of those who will be impacted by the study. Another important point is documentation and transparency. And to maintain transparency and accountability in the research process, it is important to keep detailed records of the evaluation and refinement process. This includes taking thorough notes, making revisions, and documenting the feedback received. By doing so, researchers can demonstrate the rigor and thoughtfulness of their research design. Furthermore, providing justification for the selection and refinement of research questions is vital. By explaining the reasoning behind certain choices, researchers can showcase the careful consideration and decision making involved in their research design. Evaluating and improving research questions is a crucial process in conducting effective research. It involves assessing the clarity, specificity, relevance, and feasibility of the questions. Additionally, seeking feedback from others and making necessary changes are essential steps in enhancing the quality of the questions. This process ensures that researchers have well defined and effective questions that guide their research effectively. So, by utilizing organized and open methods to evaluate and improve research questions, researchers can enhance the overall quality of their work and make a greater impact in their respective fields. What are the different types of research questions? That we will know with the help of the types of research questions, because there are different types of research questions uh, that play an important role in planning and execution of studies. These types come in different forms depending on the type of inquiry, research goals, and methods used. So, understanding the various types of research questions is essential for researcher to effectively conduct their studies. There are different categories of research questions, and one of the category is descriptive research questions. These questions aim to provide a description or categorization of a phenomena, situation, or group of people. They focus on gathering information about what is currently happening, identifying patterns or trends, and giving an overview of the subject being studied. For example, a descriptive research question could be: what are the characteristics of people diagnosed with depression in a specific community? Another type of research question is exploratory research question. These questions are used to explore new topics, generate hypotheses, or gain initial insights into areas that have not been extensively studied before. They are often employed at the beginning of research to identify important variables, develop theories, or refine research questions. An example of an exploratory research question could be: what factors contribute to job satisfaction among workers in the Indian economy? By utilizing these different types of research questions, researchers can tailor their studies to meet their specific objectives. Descriptive research questions allow for a comprehensive understanding of a particular phenomena or group, while exploratory research questions enable researchers to delve into uncharted territories and uncover new insights. The choice of research question depends on the nature of the study and the desired outcomes. Next category is explanatory research questions. These questions are designed to uncover the reasons behind certain phenomena. They aim to establish cause and effect relationships and understand the factors that contribute to specific outcomes. For example, a question like: how does a parent's involvement in their child's education affect their academic success, falls under this category. On the other hand, the next category is predictive research questions. They focus on forecasting future events or patterns using existing information or models. These questions often involve statistical analysis or predictive modeling techniques. An example of a predictive research question could be: Can machine learning algorithm accurately predict when customers will stop using a subscription based service? Both types of research questions play a crucial role in expanding our knowledge and aiding decision making. Explanatory questions help us comprehend why things happen the way they do, while predictive questions enable us to anticipate future trends. By investigating causal relationships, explanatory research questions provide insights into the underlying mechanisms that drive certain outcomes. This understanding can inform interventions and strategies aimed at improving outcomes. On the other hand, predictive research questions equip us with tools to forecast future events, behaviors, or patterns. This can be valuable for businesses, policymakers, and individuals seeking to make informed decisions. The next category of research questions are comparative research questions, and these questions involve comparing different groups, conditions, or variables to uncover similarities, differences, or patterns. These questions seek to understand how various interventions, policies, or treatments impact different contexts or population. For example, a comparative research question could be: how does cognitive behavioral therapy for anxiety disorder compare to mindfulness based stress reduction therapy in terms of effectiveness? On the other hand, evaluative research questions focus on assessing the effectiveness, impact, or outcomes of interventions, programs, policies, or initiatives. The goal is to determine whether these interventions have been successful in achieving their intended objectives and to identify factors that contribute to success or failure. An example of an evaluative research question would be: what are the long term effects of a community based diabetes prevention program on participants' health behavior and clinical outcomes? Comparative research questions allow researchers to explore the similarities and differences between different approaches or strategies. By comparing multiple groups or conditions, researchers gain insight into which interventions may be more effective or suitable for specific context or populations. This type of research helps inform decision making and policy development by providing evidence based recommendations. On the other hand, evaluative research questions help determine the overall impact and effectiveness of interventions, programs, or policies. By evaluating the outcomes and identifying contributing factors, researchers can make informed judgments about the success or failure of these initiatives. This information is crucial for improving existing interventions or developing new ones that better meet the needs of the target population. Both comparative and evaluative research questions play important roles in advancing knowledge and informing practice. Comparative research allows for a deep understanding of different approaches, while evaluative research provides valuable insights into the effectiveness of interventions. By combining these two types of research, researchers can generate comprehensive and meaningful findings that contribute to evidence based decision making and ultimately improve outcomes for individuals and communities. Next category is action oriented research questions, and these questions are an important tool for researchers to provide practical insights and recommendations for decision making or policy development. These questions are specifically designed to focus on solving real world problems, improving organizational practices, or making positive changes in society. For example, a question could be: how can schools implement inclusive education practices to better support students with disabilities? By categorizing research questions into different categories, researchers are able to customize their inquiries to fit the specific objectives, methodologies, and context of their studies. There are various types of research questions that researchers can choose from based on their goals. Whether they want to describe phenomena, explore new topics, explain cause and effect relationships, predict future outcomes, compare groups, evaluate interventions, or inform action, researchers have the flexibility to select the type of research question that will guide their investigations effectively. This allows them to tailor their research to address the specific needs and challenges of the field. By using action oriented research questions, researchers are able to bridge the gap between theory and practice. These questions encourage researchers to not only understand the underlying principles and theories, but also to apply their findings in practical ways. This is particularly important in fields such as education, where the ultimate goal is to improve teaching methods and support systems for students with disabilities. Furthermore, action oriented research questions promote collaboration and engagement with stakeholders. Researchers are encouraged to involve key individuals and organizations who have a vested interest in the research topic. This ensures that the research is relevant, meaningful, and applicable to the real world. By actively involving stakeholders, researchers can gather valuable insights and perspectives that can inform their recommendations and actions. So, in conclusion, we can say that research questions are a crucial part of the research process as they provide guidance and shape the methods used to pursue knowledge. Throughout the exploration, we have discovered the various roles and significance of research questions in the academic research. We have examined how they are formulated, their characteristics, and their impact on different stages of the research process. Initially, research questions begin as clear and specific inquiries, but they are refined through careful evaluation and collaboration. They serve as the framework that directs our research projects, acting as a compass that leads us towards meaningful insights and discoveries in our fields of study. Effective research possesses key characteristics such as clarity, specificity, relevance, feasibility, and alignment with our research objectives. These characteristics ensure that our research questions remain focused and purposeful, addressing the needs and priorities of our research. Moreover, research questions play a pivotal role in shaping our research design, guiding data collection and analysis, and promoting critical thinking and reflections among researchers. So, when we align our research questions with theoretical frameworks, methods, and ethical considerations, we can design studies that produce strong and impactful findings. This contributes to the advancement of knowledge and understanding in our respective fields. It is important to recognize that research questions are not merely questions to be answered, they are catalysts for exploration, discovery, and innovation. So, by formulating clear, relevant, and well defined research questions, we establish a foundation for rigorous and meaningful inquiry. This is all for today. Thank you.